Morning folks, Raymond here from the Family Meal, and today I had a special delivery, which is Merchant's Cove. And this is special to me because this is my birthday and Christmas present from my wife Bianca of 2019, and it's just arrived this morning, so I thought I'd do an unboxing with you guys. So I've taken the advantage of just cutting the bottom of the cellophane off, but otherwise I have not been into these contents. I've seen a couple of other opening videos. I thought I'd just share this with yourselves as well. So let's go to the table. So what have we got here? We have Merchant's Cove, Pearl 5 Realms. So I was watching interviews with Johnny Pack. A lot of attention on the fact that this is the art by the Miko, and of course by Frontier Games. And what have we got inside? So we have a large bag of, very crinkly bag of contents. I will pop that. Let's dip into the bag of contents straight away. And let's see what relaxation we have. Okay, so these are the boards for the merchants, so where they can go to the centre of the cove and hire workers to come and work in their shops. These are the boards, so they're different on each side. And as you hire the workers and slot them in these positions, when you then activate them, they each do one of these particular activities, so they can get rid of corruption, or they might be able to do various other things depending on your particular mercantile skill. So it looks like these are pursuant to each particular merchant. So I'm sure I'll work out what those are, but it looks like, off the top of my head, we've possibly got, what have we got? So this one's maybe the Potion Explosion Alchemist. We've got the Pirate. Don't know. I'll figure that out. Okay. I'm guessing. Pure guess. Okay, so we have the Alchemist. As Fenestra Orin, the Alchemist, you gather mysterious ingredients from your decanter, mix them into your cauldrons, and brew them into Merchant's Cove's finest potions and elixirs. Okay, so for this particular character, she will have her own board, and she will be pulling marbles of different colours to then represent different ingredients to be put into her brewing potions, but she has to watch out for toxic waste represented by ichor black marbles, otherwise they will explode. That is not good from Alchemist Shop. And here you can see these are the different hiring capabilities that she has, as well as these are alternative on the back. Okay. We have the Peddler. Now this is for the solo mode. For me this was a big part of why I purchased this game. There is a box full of solo expansion capabilities, but this means I can play each of the individual merchants against the Peddler as a solo game experience, and so it will just give me hours and hours of fun. And so it has an AI representation of playing against an opponent character that I can then play against. We have the Blacksmith. The Blacksmith's job is straightforward. As Olaf Thundercrack, you work with fire and metal. You have 4 hot furnaces, and you forge weapons and armour to equip adventurers' battle. Okay, so he will have his own board where he will be stoking coals represented by the black dice, and then looking to forge materials represented by the coloured dice. Up here, getting different numbers representing whether he can create small or large items to bring to the marketplace. So that's how the Blacksmith operates. We have the Chronomancer and his assistant. A Whiz Grey, the Chronomancer, you and your assistant Humpty McCalf are entrepreneurial time travellers who've made a business out of revisiting history to bring back valuable relics and artefacts. So they have a bit of a puzzle where you have tiles that move around on this board, and then you're moving your meeples around the board, your characters around the board, representing travelling through time to acquire small or large goods that you will then sell off as historical items to people visiting Merchant's Cove. And then finally in the core box we have the Captain. So the Captain, a swarthy Captain Greentail. You sail your fleet on the high seas in search of valuable treasures to bring back and sell at the piers. You won't know what kind of treasures are buried on the outlying islands until you go searching. Surely many riches await you. This was quite an interesting one. There was a lot of debate, I noticed online, about the fact that this comes with a dial that you spin to represent activities that you can undertake, I believe. So you will have various ships that you will send out. If you can only move small amounts, you would go out and fish. If you could move a large amount, you'd go out and collect treasure. As I understand it, the fish being your smaller items you sell at Merchant's Cove, the treasure being the larger items. But some of these have the potential risk of gaining corruption as well, which is worked out as negative points at the end of the game. These were a really nice addition, again very highly praised out there by many people, and what this is representational of the boxes we're about to uncover in here, the insert trays, and they tell you exactly what goes where. So there will be a number of ships that will represent the buyers, the adventurers visiting the cove to buy goods from your merchants. Obviously you'll have a whole bunch of different meeples and gems and various goods on there. You have, as it says, corruption cards, townfolk cards, etc. Base games, merchant cards and all that stuff, as well as the many meeples. And you have mice, market and gold timepieces, etc. So that will be, so these two elements here will represent the core box that you will get out every single time you play the game, and then there are separate trays for each of the different core merchants available. So you have the Alchemist, Chronomancer, Blacksmith and the Captain. So whichever you choose to play, or different players are playing amongst themselves, you would put out the applicable merchants and their goods. This is the main board. I will open that up in a moment, and then we have I love double inlaid boards. Stops things sliding around when you're trying to move stuff around, which is brilliant. So this will be the Chronomancer's board. You can see here, this is where the main Chronomancer goes and his assistant. And as I mentioned, they all have tiles that they'll be flipping over and rotating and doing all kinds of stuff with to manipulate time and space to gain relics and artifacts throughout time that will either be large or small, and then bring them to the cove to sell. This is the Blacksmith's board, and again you can see there we have, hopefully you can catch that in the light, we have these inset areas for popping the dice, and you have these circlers on each of these areas representing where you would place your character to activate different things. So here you would do something with 2 dice and it would cost you 1 time on the time track to undertake that activity, and so on and so forth. So that's how that guy works. And again, got the inlet boards here for the treasures. And that's for the pirate going out and about the sea. This is for the peddler. So this is a single thickness board. But the peddler will have cards here representing the actions. Turn it right way up even. Cards here for the peddler's stall, representing the actions that the peddler will undertake on a turn-by-turn basis. There will be meeples that will cause things to occur, and maybe they could put them in boats, etc. And there will be goods up here representing their goods. They'll be trying to peddle their wares upon the adventurers. And finally you have, and again it's all lovely inset there. You can see where the marbles would situate and place for the marble tray. And this is where they would post the ingredients. Marbles would come down in a specific tray here, and as you pick them out, they would move forward, and then you would decide which potions you're going to place them into to try and formulate. And again, you have these different areas representing your activities, costing you 1 or 2 time as you undertake them. Okay, we have then the 3D punch board assembly instructions. So this has quite a number of 3D components. It has boats that will come into Merchant's Cove carrying adventurers looking to purchase the wares. It has the Alchemist 3D components, which in this case here is a sail shelf, so the items, the armour, the weapons, etc. the Alchemist would be crafting. These will be available to sell and available on display for all other players to see. You would likewise have, the Alchemist is the potions, the Blacksmith is the armour and weaponry. You have the Captain of the Seas, so this would be the fish and treasures, and then likewise the Chronomancer being relics and artefacts gathered through history. And of course, as I mentioned, they have the Alchemist decanter where the marbles run down. So that is single-sided. I understand from one of the notes online there was an error in one of these, but I'm sure I will work that out as I come across it. And then we get to the rules. Now my understanding is that you'll notice these are slightly raised. There was so much in that first section of this box. These had to be put in just to raise it up that little bit to keep everything nice and sound and safe for delivery. But I'm loving this artwork by D'Amico. Very, very good, beautiful stuff. So this is the main rules, and as you see, the main rules for the main game itself actually are not that arduous. They are not thick, and they are beautifully illustrated with lots and lots of graphics throughout, lots of illustrations on how various things work. So you've got the time track, you've got the ships coming in to the docks, and you have likewise the market phase at the end of the game where you're then peddling your wares. You have 3 phases of that, with your clean-up phase and then the final scoring to determine who is the winner, who has made the most money, and then it goes through some common actions similar to all merchants, no matter which you are playing. And here you can see you gather these townfolk and put them into positions as assistants, as staff working in your shop. So when you activate them, they would each give you these additional benefits and bonuses, worth less obviously earlier in the game, worth more as the game progresses. And then get these wonderful inserts, which I'm loving. It just makes such a difference having well organised inserts. I cannot tell you how frustrating it is when you get some games I've seen where you get a box like this and you unpack it and you have a whole plethora of intricacies and goods and items, and then you just have an empty box to shove them all back into. Doesn't make sense to me. So it's tremendous for me to see publishers taking the time to genuinely consider and think about what their purchasers want and need, because this just makes such a difference, being able to say, right, this game I'm going to play this particular character here, here's everything I need for the game. And likewise knowing that here I can take this out, these are all the boats and various bits and bobs that I need to play the main game. And here we have yet another stack of cardboard. Okay, so what have we got in this item? Get in, a little bit of tape, here we go. Okay, so these are that sheet that we saw earlier on. These are the 3D constructs that we'll be making up, as well as other icons and bits and bobs. So we have flags for each of the merchants, including the peddler, would be my guess there. We have the various boats that will be made up. And again, you know, they did not have to take the time to have different coloured boats. It makes no difference to the game other than the beauty of it on the table. I love this. It is gorgeous. You see these plots straight out, no effort at all. Really, really nicely prepared cut. Have some coinage. And we have various goods, and these are the Chronomancer tiles I was making reference to earlier, various iconography, minimal language, minimal reading and text. It's all about the gameplay and working out tactically what it is you're going to do by what's on the board in front of you, maybe understanding what your opponent's doing, trying to dictate the market if your adventurers coming in, determining if you're going to be selling lots of red goods, blue, green, yellow goods, small or large. It really is as simple as that, folks. Again, there was an interesting point I picked up on a few people making comparisons to things like Root, which is similar in terms of a very highly asymmetrical game, so every person within the game doing their own thing, but there's much more interaction in other games like Root. Less interaction here. The primary point of interaction here is the centre board. And these are all, as you've seen, more kind of mini games, if you like, and between these there are definitely those that are recommended to be simpler, raising in complexity, and likewise there are then various expansions which I've also received to these as well, again adding different levels of complexity, different things that you're watching out for, you're trying to manipulate and control and dictate throughout the game. But again, really loving the idea of this. Quite light, quite quick, not too arduous, which is ideal as a family game. Brilliant. So again, we've got these being the different stalls that the different merchants will be selling their wares, various wares, as you can see here. So these are the treasure chests that the captain will be uncovering, so they will all be out there face down, and as you go and find them and discover them, you will flip them over and identify what it is you have managed to acquire upon that voyage. Again, more boats, different colours, absolutely loving the beauty of all of this stuff. There was no need to go to the lengths and breadths of having, different merchants with different goods that they're producing, but all of these goods all align thematically to the different merchants and the items that they're producing to sell at the Cove. And yeah, I'm just really happy with the level of production, the quality of production here. It really is tremendous, and cannot wait to get this all punched out and onto the table and have a game with the family. And here we can see this is the Alchemist's marble run, as it were, where they will come down. So then we have some more goods. We have a whole bunch of meeples, and again, they didn't have to go to these extra lengths. I think it was, I'm not sure if it was part of the Kickstarter. Well, it was part of the Kickstarter that they talked about then having these screen printed meeples. But again, I just really like the additional attention to detail. They could have been quite content of just having, the different colours, the grey being the rogues, the yellow, the red, the blue, the green, all representation of different factions of adventurers coming in throughout the game. Because I can't remember off the top of my head what they are. It looks like the blue would be wizards, the green would be like rangers, the yellow maybe clerics, and the red would be warriors perhaps, maybe not. Anyway, so but maybe adventurers, warriors, and rogues perhaps. Put those up. There is a whole plethora of. Does that guy look happy? There is a whole plethora of cards. These are the corruption cards, which ultimately lead you to losing points at the end of the game. Certainly not what you want to be accruing throughout the process. Although again, as you've seen, there are opportunities to get rid of said corruption, so there are times where you will have to take corruption and you will bank on taking some corruption. So there's a whole plethora of those. There will be a stack on the board, and whenever you undertake an activity or such like that says you have to take one, you would take it and you reveal it. And again, you can see there are various different iconography to say this potentially would get you 2 corruption per the number of rogues on the board at the end of the game, -1 for each warrior adventurer in their settlement, for example. That would be the kind of thing that you'd be banking on, that you'd be counting against. Some of these are just purely -1, and then others, as you can see, have different various elements in there. And here we have, these are the members of staff that are available for hire, the workers, and again you'll see there are abilities that when you purchase them, for example this guy would get rid of 1 corruption, which gets you bonus point, well, would eliminate you losing points at the end of the game, and it would also potentially give you a bonus on the number of warriors that are available at the end of the game as well. And there's various other bits and bobs like this, and these guys would come out onto the board throughout the process of the game, continually being replenished as they are employed, and available for everyone to hire. And then these are the Peddler Cards, which would be used to dictate the actions of the Peddler on a turn-by-turn basis for solo mode. So for those who are of any interest at all, this is how they would work, is you would pull 1 out on the right hand side, you pull 1 out on the left hand side, and these 2 areas in the middle would be dictating what the Peddler is going to be doing on that any given particular turn. So that's how that works. And again, really liking the fact there's no heavy text in any of this stuff. It's all iconography, which is, you know, very simple to learn, to figure and master, and then run from there. So that's great. Other things we have then, this is a placeholder, I believe, for when you pack things back in here. These would press out, and then there would be cards that would sit in here to be situated within the box. Here we go. So this is the wonderfully contentious spinner for the pirate, and you can see, yes, so they would have different things that they could do depending on which spin result you happen to get. Some really nice big chunky dice for the Blacksmith. I keep thinking the Alchemist. It's not the Alchemist. Blacksmith. I do like the fact they've got a kind of more turquoisey blue, given that you've got the red, the green and the blue, just to make sure that they're fairly evidential and stand out on the table, particularly when you've got different light. It can sometimes make it awkward to see different colours, but no, these are really nice. So happy with those. It's great. And these wonderful, beautiful marbles representing the potions for the Alchemist. I get it right this time. The Alchemist. Little sort of air bubbles being captured inside of there. Beautiful stuff. So yes, really liking those. And then we have, looks like a mini expansion for Dragon Island Festival. So this is something else we can just throw in to the game to add a bit more variety, as if we didn't have enough already out of the box. Liking that there's no tape on these. That's nice. I like that. It can always be a bit awkward when you go to open something and suddenly, oh, there's some tape here. So no, that's good. Brilliant. Love that. And these are very diddy. Very diddy. But I do like them. Really nice quality. I will do a separate video just showing off these separately. These are nice. These have come out really well moulded. Actually, they haven't got lots of sort of mould marks and extra hang-ons in terms of plastic or anything like that. These have come out really well from a finish, and obviously these are based on the art of the Miko. I believe it's quite rare that companies do try and create miniatures based on the Miko's art. Generally due to his style, he's got a very specific style, beautiful style, very colourful, but they've managed to capture these really, really well, and I will certainly look forward to painting those up. So yeah, we've got the various different characters, and I like the fact that they took the attention with the Alchemist. So we've got all the detail on the base of the Alchemist as well there, which is beautiful. All the potions hanging off her and in her hands, and a good mix here of you know, gender equality and a bit more on, I think, the ethnicity as we come on to the expansions beyond the base game, which is beautiful to see. So that's it. Thanks for joining me at the table, folks. That's it for the core box. I will be uploading a separate video for the expansions, and the thing I didn't get to, which I will do now, is the main board, which is huge, and I'm not convinced it's even going to fit on the camera, but we'll give it a go. Okay, so this then is the main board. So you can see here where you would have your ships coming in, and they would dock at each of these throughout the course of the game. You have areas where you have your workers that you can hire. This is the stack from which you would hire them from. You then have the clock, which determines as you go through your various actions on a turn-by-turn basis, they will cost you 1 or 2 time to undertake such activities. And then as the game progresses, areas of these will get blocked, and you have the option to go and take corruption towards the end of the game. And as you pass here, you'll be putting out meeples to put into the boats as they come into the docks, determining whether you're trying to produce yellow, green, blue or red items of large or small quantity, quality for the adventurers to purchase. So here people will be purchasing the large items represented by this double crate. Here people will be purchasing the smaller items of a lesser value represented by a single crate, and here you would have the black market representing people buying either large or small goods, but you always take corruption because you're selling at the black market. Various other bits and bobs on here, which I won't trouble to go into at this stage, and maybe do a bit more of an overview of the actual gameplay itself once I'm a bit more au fait myself. One of the other things that they did say, I did pick up on some people mentioning on the back of the board, there are representation of the world for Final Frontiers and their various games, and it's identifying where some of their other games are currently actually featured and available within their world, which I thought was a really nice touch. You know, again, the attention to detail in this game on every level is absolutely astounding. So yes, very, very, very happy. Really looking forward to getting this to the table, and hopefully speak again soon. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching The Family Meeple. Hit like if you like it, and subscribe for more content like this.